Hello and welcome to my channel, and welcome to Doctor Who Review Season 9 Episode 12 Hellbent, and the season finale. If you haven't seen the episode already, I suggest you do so now before watching this review because of spoilers. And so we come to the conclusion of our Series 9 adventures, with the third part of our three-part finale, Hellbent. And the first thing we notice is it does not start straight from where it left off at the end of Heaven Sent, in which the Doctor, at the finale, walks out of his confession dial onto the plains of Gallifrey, but instead this episode starts on the desert plains of Nevada, with the Doctor walking into a restaurant to find a waitress who looks remarkably like Clara. But Clara and the Doctor do not seem to know each other. They speak as if they are strangers. The Doctor then begins to tell Clara a story, and we don't know at this point whether Clara is an echo or whether we're in a time period before Clara met the Doctor. But the Doctor begins to tell Clara the story of Clara and his adventures on Gallifrey. After the credits, we get the Doctor's story, and the Doctor walking across the plains of Gallifrey to the old barn where he used to live, and where, at one point, he contemplated destroying the planet. And how human that seemed at the time. It was like he was out for revenge. He had just suffered a great ordeal, and he took the time to reflect upon his roots, to visit his old home and his old family, or what we assume is his old family, at least the people he most related to, the outsiders, the Shobegan, the non-Time Lord Gallifreyans, those that live outside of the Citadel. And I've always wanted to know more about them, ever since they got featured in The Invasion of Time, when Leela was banished by the Fourth Doctor into the wastelands to live amongst them. We never really found out that much about them at the time, and their story has mostly been picked up in the novels. So it was great to see on screen that not all of Gallifrey is Time Lord dominated, that the Time Lords in fact only occupy a very elite, very small percentage of the overall population of Gallifrey. And it was great to see the Sisterhood of Khan as well, who, genetically speaking, are related to the Time Lords. They were banished from Gallifrey many millennia ago, at the time of Rassilon, the original time of Rassilon, back before the Time Lords were in fact Time Lords. So it was great to see them again. So yeah, it was great to see the Doctor connecting to his roots and connecting to his past again, and chatting to the woman we assume that brought him up. We don't know how Gallifreyan society works in respect to child bringing and things like that, child rearing. So we don't know if that was his mother or foster mother or a school guardian. It could be a boarding school type of arrangement, we don't know. But she was certainly a person from the Doctor's childhood. Someone he loved and respected greatly. Someone he knew would protect him. And that brings me nicely to my next favourite part, which was the Doctor waiting for the President. The Time Lords knew they had a diplomatic nightmare on their hands. They've always been shown to be corrupt, but with the Doctor they had a whole different diplomatic entanglement. They knew what they'd done to him was wrong. They knew that he was a man of the people, that the general population and even the army respected him for his role in the Time War and his involvement in Gallifreyan society before that. Let's not forget he was at one time Lord President himself. So it was also good to see the way the Doctor fought that fight when they sent more and more important people, first the army to try and threaten him, then the generals, and then the Time Lord High Council, and finally the President himself. And only then would the Doctor talk. And I loved that. I loved that whole scene from then till the army start rallying against rallying with the Doctor against the President. And we see just how corrupt Rassilon has become and how corrupt the Time Lords really are, in that he's both totally okay with killing the Doctor 12, 13 times to waste all his regenerations, and he's also totally disregarding of the non-Time Lord Gallifreyans that are stood as witness regarding, he says, I have no witnesses, nobody that matters, which shows the vanity and the level of disdain that the Time Lords have over virtually everything else, and really shows the Doctor in contrast, the caring Doctor, the life bringer, the saviour. And in that, the Doctor was always going to be the winner. And it was great to see the Doctor fight that, take his revenge in such a way, because we've seen him take his revenge in quite disastrous ways in the Time Lord Victorious, in his battle with the spider thing in Runaway Bride. It was only Donna herself that dragged him away. He was willing to virtually kill himself in revenge. And we've seen it in the Family of Blood. The revenge he took on the family was quite sickening, to be quite honest. He in fact punished the Family of Blood in much the same way as the Time Lords have punished him. Trapping a person within the event horizon of a collapsing galaxy is as close to an eternal hell as anything the Doctor faced in the last episode. But this time the Doctor took a very diplomatic fight, and it was good to see the Doctor change his style of fight when faced with his own people. And then we come to the whole cloister, the Cloisters and the Matrix. Now, I found that whole scene really, really wonderful. I love anything that reflects upon Gallifreyan society and Gallifreyan technology. And since the revived series, Gallifrey has been lost, so we've had very, very little information about Gallifrey and any backstories about Gallifrey. So it was great to get in there amongst the Time Lord technology and see it for yourself, including the extraction chamber. I can say that word. and also the extraction chamber, in which the Doctor brings Clara back from a heartbeat away from her death, the split second before, but at a cost, and the cost is she's still going to die. She still has to go back to the alley and live out that last second in which she dies. But the Doctor's got other plans. He intends to wipe her memory and plonk her down somewhere to live a rather abnormal, heartbeatless life. Another sign that the Doctor's going too far. So he steals a TARDIS, shooting the General. Oh, that was great. When she regenerates back into a woman and reveals that that was only an experiment. Being a man was only an experiment and she didn't like it. So the General's into her 11th regeneration now, and I hope we see her again. She was a great character. The male General was a very good character, but I quite like the female General now. I think this is definitely paving the way for a female Doctor. We go forward in time and we meet the hybrid, Ashildr, doing exactly as the prophecy said, sitting in the ruins of Gallifrey, or in fact the ruins of the Cloisters, in the last few minutes of the universe. And Ashildr has given her clue as to what to escape. I think she really wants to escape. She's calm and she's seen trillions upon trillions of years go by. But she still wants more. And the Doctor says, well, it's still a TARDIS. So she goes with him and he accepts that. And I think it's about time. To leave her there would to be killing her. Even though I think he feels responsible for Ashildr. He doesn't want to see her die. He gave her immortality, therefore he's given her the chance to escape the end. Because who knows what's going to happen to her when the universe ends. She might survive that, and that might be a fate worse than death. So he lets her into the TARDIS, and then he tries to wipe Clara's memory and finds out that she's reversed it. And I think that is really fitting. I think it should have been the Doctor. It definitely should have been the Doctor that forgot her. Because she can go off now, safe in because the Doctor will always dig her. He will always find her and he will always dig her about she really has to go back to that fixed point. She really has to face her death. Now she can face it on her own terms, in her own time. And we're left, I don't think Jenna Louise Coleman will be coming back for anything more than a guest appearance in the next few years. So we're left to assume that Ashildr and Clara are wandering off in their brand new TARDIS. Christ knows how they learnt how to use it. But then again, Ashildr is trillions of years old, so she might have had time to learn. And we leave season 9 for good. We leave Clara for good. And with a fitting end.